We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
And we're back on Liberty Nation Radio with longtime host Tim Donner. Earlier we talked about the significance of the challenge to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, but now we're diving into a serious story on the state of the Constitution and how there are some who want, let's say, a constitutional do-over. Tim, there's some academics, they're arguing that the Constitution is out of date and it needs to be scrapped. And the media, the proper mainstream activist media, they're giving these folks a platform. What does this signify?
Well, it signifies that they've basically given up on the Supreme Court and in their ability to bend the Constitution to their liking. For the longest time, Mark, the left has talked about a living Constitution, which means one that changes based on the political winds that are blowing at any particular time. And as I've often pointed out, a living Constitution is in reality a dead Constitution because there's no continuity and it represents no enduring principles. But these authors, these co-authors, these wizened law professors from Harvard and Yale, of course,
naturally
are arguing as guest authors in the New York Times that we've tried for so long to make the Constitution responsive to the needs of the current age, so to speak, that we have failed. So it's time to give up and just trash the whole thing. The name of the article, the headline of the article is "The Constitution is Broken and Should Not Be Reclaimed." And they further argue that constitutions as a whole are no longer desirable because they bind us to the past instead of the future.
I think the important point there, Tim, that these professors seem to be missing is that constitutions do bind, but not necessarily to the past or to a particular vision, but to each other. I mean, you're very fortunate to be from a country where the thing that binds every American together is the Constitution. It was a set of ideas that created a nation rather than the geography or the race or the religion behind it. It was the Constitution that bound together the state. Surely what we're looking at is a mob rule if we don't have a Constitution.
Yes, it's an invitation to tyranny. And look, the Constitution, the left feels frustrated with it. The right feels that the left has taken incredible number of liberties with it. Basically, anything they want to do, they've claimed the ability to do it, to expand the government, to approve racial quotas, to essentially make abortion a constitutional right. They succeeded in all of those things by, shall we say, an expansive view of the Commerce Clause and the General Welfare Clause of the Constitution, basically putting everything under that umbrella illegitimately so, but now they feel with the court having been taken over by, a Trump-induced infusion of conservatives to create a 6-3 court, they figure it's no longer worth fighting. The easier thing than trying to create a living Constitution is to just get rid of the whole damn thing.
Yeah, without a constitution, though, surely there's no more United States because let's look quickly at what it would take to remove the Constitution or to water it down to some extent. There are actually protections in place given by the Constitution that would mean that a majority of states and a supermajority in Congress would have to vote to even get an amendment put in. So to change the Constitution as it exists or scrap it entirely, what are they even hoping for there?
Well, the Constitution was deliberately designed to be difficult to amend. When you take into account there's been 27 amendments in 235 years, that's about once every 10 years. In reality, it's less than that because, of course, the first 10 in the Bill of Rights were all put in together. But the point is that an enduring constitution has to rely on overwhelming public sentiment for it to be changed, so that there is continuity, so that there are North Star principles that people can count on. And so the left has become frustrated that they cannot turn the constitutional republic essentially into a social democracy by using the Constitution. So they essentially now are saying that it's a backward-looking document, that it does not reflect the reality of America these days. However, the Constitution certainly has served the freest country in the world pretty well, I think, Mark, for 235 years, for protecting people, but also for change. We got rid of slavery. We added voting rights for blacks and women. The kind of social change that the Constitution has enabled through popular sentiment is really a model for the entire world.
So, Tim, more weakening of the Constitution, or even the scrapping of the Constitution, would that lead to a separation, a final separation of the United States?
I think it would have to, because there would be nothing to bind the states together anymore. We already see, for example, in the Idaho separatist movement, and we hear about these things across the country from time to time. But there's a whole bunch of people in this country that don't want to be part of what's going on with the federal government now and for decades. Donald Trump brought a lot of those people sort of out of the woodwork to become politically involved. But I think the left is interested in trying to put that toothpaste back in the tube. They can't do it because these people have crawled out from the dark places that the left believes they were hiding in, and now they can't get rid of them. So at least they can get rid of the document that holds them together with these deplorables.
Yeah, it's not as though the Constitution is a Rorschach test. It's
well, you can't have a there's no possibility of creating a successor document. No. Because the country is so balkanized, you could never get the two sides anywhere close to an agreement on a replacement law of the land, so to speak. So the whole project would wind up in chaos and tyranny. I think
and America,
not even any doubt about it.
America becomes Europe. Tim Donner, thanks ever so much.
Always a pleasure, Mark.
You're listening to Liberty Nation Radio, heard across the country on the Radio American Network. I'd like to say a special thank you to our listeners out in Cadillac, Missouri on WATT, 1240 AM and 106.1 FM. Thanks for being here. Coming up later in the show, we talk Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness program. But up next, the US is headed back to the moon after 50 years. Don't go anywhere. We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
We're doing it for real, really real. Liberty Nation.
And Jeff Charles, contributor for LibertyNation.com.
I think we're starting to make an impact. Liberty style, fight for freedom.
The tracking poll sponsored by Liberty Nation for Thursday.
Mentioned by Dan Bongino, Rasmussen, Jordan Peterson, and
I
others.
can do it again if you want me to.
Cited in Mark Levin's American Marxism.
I think we're starting to make a really big impact. Get noticed. We're doing it. Rock on. I'm gone.